7, 8 years ago, we were a different place. This is in fact our very first commencement on this site on Alumni Green, and it is the site of the new Stanford medicine, if you will. We are juxtaposed to the Clark Center for Interdisciplinary Sciences, connected to our new stem cell building just behind you, to the new Learning and Knowledge Center. And just this week, in the city of Palo Alto, permission finally granted after 4 years and nearly 100 meetings for Stanford to begin construction on its new hospitals, both Stanford Hospital and Clinics and the expansion of the Lucille Packard Children's Hospital. So physical transformation is a tremendous part of what we are. And I should just add, while we're passing, just so you feel cozy and comforted by the thought, you're sitting above our animal research facilities, carefully constructed underground, but remembering that that's an integral part of what we do as we change the face of science and medicine. But the real transformation, the most important transformation, is happening right here among our students, those who have, during the last 4 and beyond years, contributed to their self-learning, but equally important to their shared and individual discoveries. Science as we know it today is radically different than it was when they arrived, and in part because of some of their very contributions. Healthcare as we know it today will radically change in the years ahead. And it's our hope that your sons and daughters will play a key role in helping to elucidate how physicians can care for patients in a humanistic way that connects science with humanity. So today we're here to celebrate the graduation of some 261 members of our community, 39 master's students, 126 PhD students, and 96 medical students. It's a great contribution on their part, and of course on your parts as well. Without families and friends, our students couldn't have done it, and going forward without them, you may not be able to do it yourselves. So we're here now in this collective opportunity for celebrating and sharing the future. Now, as tradition has it, at Stanford, we have 3 members of our community, one who's a guest today, and 2 who are graduating students, represent themselves and their classmates. And the first is going to be the representative of our PhD students, and this is Joel Dudley, if he could come forward.
All right, been down here. Thanks for my fellow classmates for electing me to this honor here today. Thanks to Zira Murphy and her whole crew for making us, enabling us to celebrate this commencement today in this way. Now, when I sat down to write this speech, I was feeling a bit daunted. So I started reading the history and the biographies of famous Stanford graduate students from the past. I read about Larry Page and Sergey Brin, who started Google, about David Filo and Jerry Yang, who started Yahoo, and I started to get really stressed out, and I realized, man, these guys all actually dropped out of Stanford and started the next multi-billion-dollar world-changing companies. And maybe I've actually failed somehow, because I actually made it to graduation. And I thought, well, that was pretty depressing, so I stopped doing that. So then I thought very simply to myself, what does it mean to get a graduate degree from Stanford? So we're all walking away with MDs and PhDs and master's degrees, and good for us, but you can get these degrees at numerous institutions across this country. Now we all know, so the thing is, what is so unique about Stanford? What does it really mean? And we all know intuitively that this Stanford is a very special place. But I think all my classmates can agree this is sort of a very hard thing to put into words and really try to convey to the folks here in the audience what is so unique and special about Stanford. So I was reading books to my son one night, and it hit me. I happened to be reading him Harry Potter. And I realized that Stanford is our real-world Hogwarts school. So if you listen to read the books or watch the movies, you know Hogwarts School is the magical school where all the wizards are taught. And in Hogwarts, the paintings talk to the kids when they're walking through the hall. And the bookcase or the staircases are constantly flipping around. There's all sort of bits of magic that are part of the ordinary day-to-day life there. And Stanford is exactly the same in that There are all sorts of extraordinary magical things happening here on a day-to-day basis that are just part of our everyday experience here. Here at Stanford, it is ordinary for MD and engineering students to work together, to take classes together in the design school to work on the next innovative healthcare products. It is ordinary to see doctors approach patients with stethoscopes and iPad in hand. It is ordinary for bioscience and med students to take entrepreneurship courses taught by the best VCs in the world. It is ordinary for MD and PhD students to take courses that let them hack on their own personal genomes or work directly with induced pluripotent stem cells, when the rest of the medical world is even trying to figure out what these things even mean. At Stanford, it is ordinary for students to write their own iPhone apps to make their research easier, and for pediatricians to collaborate with computer scientists to hook next-generation artificial intelligence algorithms to pediatric ICU equipment to realize the future of data-driven healthcare. I'm sure that given enough time, many of you could come up with numerous more examples of this kind of magic that is part of everyday life here at Stanford. And I think that we can all agree, based on our own personal experiences, that the extraordinary is ordinary here at Stanford, and that we are creating and working in the future of science and medicine here on a daily basis. The science fiction author William Gibson once said, "The future is here, it's just not evenly distributed." Since we have been living in the future of scientific research in healthcare, here at Stanford, I believe it is our responsibility as fresh graduates of this institution to distribute this future to the rest of the world. I don't think it's news to everyone that our country is in a bit of a slump, and that the entire country is looking for the next wellspring of innovation that is going to pull us out of this economic slump into the next wave of prosperity. Now, do you think they're looking to the East Coast and to Wall Street to pull us out of this slump? I don't think so. I can tell you the whole country, and maybe the whole world, is looking west to Silicon Valley for the next wave of innovation. And many of you know that Stanford and its professors and its graduates have been here at the heart of innovation in Silicon Valley. Some of you may recall, a few months ago, President Obama came to visit this area, and he landed his helicopters directly on Stanford soil. Now, I think there's a lot of symbolism in that gesture. I don't think that he landed his helicopters on our campus as a matter of convenience. Let's face it, SFO is only 30 minutes away, and the heavily guarded NASA Ames research base is just a 15-minute drive away. I think the president himself was making it clear that he also has high hopes for the continued innovative capacity of Stanford to drive us out of this rough patch. I might add that the focus of this hope is falling ever more sharply on the students that are sitting here today, as the need for healthcare innovation grows, as the healthcare spending continues to gobble up our GDP. In a way, I'm somewhat sorry to conclude that just when you thought you were graduating away from the responsibilities of graduate school and could ride the prowess of the Stanford name into a cozy perch in the working world, that in fact our Stanford degrees carry a tremendous amount of responsibility. It is not possible for you to get the next job and sit back and relax and think, well, I'm just going to run with the pack here and hope that someone does something to fix this place. We have to realize that we are critical players in the future of this country and this world, because nobody has been trained like us. Because you've been here at Stanford so long, you're likely to take all this extraordinary aspects of your training for granted. But I'm telling you that once you get out into the real world, you'll quickly realize how special your training has been, and therefore it is imperative that we rise to the occasion and realize the full potential of our training. I know that you can do it, and I know because that's exactly what every Stanford medical graduate has done before us. Just spend a few minutes on Wikipedia and read about our predecessors, and you'll be in awe of the legacy that is ours to maintain. At the most basic level, we owe it to these graduates who came before us and those that will follow us to maintain this legacy. More broadly, we owe it to the country and perhaps the world to unleash the full potential of our unique, forward-thinking training that is invested in each and every one of us. Don't take jobs, create them. Don't play games, change how they're played. Don't spend all your time just fixing patients. Fix our ailing healthcare system. This is what you've been trained to do. I'd like to close with a quote from someone who's inspired me throughout my life, and that is the noted philosopher and intrepid starship captain Jean-Luc Picard. And here I end with his famous words, engage. Thank you.
Well, Joel, that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you for your comments and your inspiration. And it's actually given me an idea, which is I think we are going to change the nomenclature of people to your left and right. And rather than calling them professors, we're going to start out with assistant wizards, associate wizards, and full wizards going forward. All right, now representing our MD students, and I think here we tried not to have these demarcations so sharply defined, but for the moment they are. And David Craig, where are you?